Yeah, and especially the possibility of lots of teams, they're running Morphling more so in this mid lane just so he gets those early levels and farm. And there's just, you really don't want to be running Morphling against Alina. You're going to take a stray Dragon Slave or two, and there's nothing you can do in the lane. So, you know, it means he probably can't go middle at all.
You know, a hero that seems kind of fun here is a Rubik, a Z-Freak Rubik. You look at what J.Storm has. I mean, all three of those heroes, you wouldn't mind stealing several abilities from them. So there's that, and I know Z-Freak's very comfortable with it. Kind of gives you, you know, a second, obviously, Morphling already with his ultimate. Kind of use their spells against them, so...
I mean, it is so fun to think about, you know, the double spell steal lineup. Just imagine killing a Sand King with 2 Burrow Strikes from both your heroes. That must feel so bad for the side of J.Storm.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they wouldn't take the Rubik here just to preserve the flexibility for the Pangolier, maybe.
Yeah, I suppose that's possible. I mean, yeah, this is a 4th pick, though. I don't know if you're necessarily concerned at this point. You're kind of just feeling out the draft. And, yeah, I'm not saying they're going to take Rubik, but it would be a fun pick. But they clearly are putting some thought into it. And ideally, this 4th pick will give us a little more of an idea of where the Penguin's going to end up. It doesn't feel like a Limp hero, to be honest. I don't know if I can remember the last time Limp played a Pingo mid. I might be completely wrong on that, but... so I would lean towards a Tavo Pango at this point.
Radiant team pick.
See, yes.
Okay. Wow. I'm really getting my comeuppance. You're totally right about that, Breaky. They just want the double spell steal, and as you said, there are so many good things for him to steal.
Yeah, it's just very tempting, and it is a comfort hero for Z-Freak too. It's one that he is comfortable with, so I'm really not surprised in the end, but definitely using some time. Sven quickly coming out for J.Storm though.
Team ban.
I mean, to be honest, that's just another great stun for this Rubik. He's going to have a great game chaining spells, but the Sven versus Morphling matchup, I feel that's perhaps what we should be talking about. And you might not think it, but Sven, once he does get to that point, he's able to do a lot of burst damage, and so he might be able to burst down the Morphling before he's able to get off that Strength Morph, and especially with the help of the Lina. So I think that's the idea behind the Sven
5 seconds remaining.
Final bans as Ancient Apparition banned from Complexity. It's definitely a hero that would have been great against Morphling, so I suppose they do potentially need a support hero last pick too. It depends on what they want to do with the Lina. It's going to be a support Lina. It's probably in the hands of Fear, as we saw the previous series. OD comes out, also another decent hero in said matchup.
Yeah, I just love what J.Storm do with this Lina, because they do play it on Fear a lot. They clearly knew that for the side of Complexity, so they got rid of the AA, which I think there was the possibility of that being a mid AA as well. And then they're taking another great hero against the Morphling. So this honestly isn't a great Morphling game for the side of Complexity. So I'd really like to see a hero for Limp that gives them a second win condition for the side of Complexity, because I don't want to put everything in the Miracle Morphling basket here.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Shadow Fiend comes to mind. Templar Assassin, I suppose, is okay. Oh, they go Medusa. Okay, well that's that seems greedy right there, man. 2 very gonna want to sit back and farm heroes of Medusa and a Morphling for at least a bit of this earlier game. This seems like a game where J.Storm, if they get off to a good start, Complexity may have some troubles.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right about that being a very greedy pick, but it does. They answered my question. I said, you know, how do you win without the Morphling? You win without the Medusa. Both these heroes are capable of carrying the game by themselves, but you're totally right. Complexity need to buy time, and J.Storm, they cannot give it to them.
Yeah. Medusa versus OD matchup is pretty interesting, with the idea of the snake, but at the same time, OD, of course, with his ultimate does drain, I think it's 40% of the mana, so of course against Medusa that is fantastic, but clearly not phasing Complexity enough to deter them from picking up the Medusa in this game.
Yeah, the Medusa's also, you know, great versus the Sven. Eventually you do build that Eye of Skadi, and then you're able to kite him very, very well.
So Resolution, he played Sven last series against Beast Coast in that game 1, and just ultimately, really, J.Storm looked very good against Beast Coast. So, of course, we're coming in as we casted that series, so I have a little bias there. But Complexity, I haven't really seen much of them yet with Tava. I know they were using him with in the qualifiers there, but he is a great player. He's going to be playing Pango, and something now that I think about it, I think that is probably one of his more comfort heroes as well. So there is a bit of that going on in this draft. And whenever you have a new player like that, getting him heroes, even though it's not necessarily heroes you're used to playing with, just making sure that they're just comfortable in the game.
Yeah, for the side of Complexity, I think with the Pangolier as well as the two supports, they might be able to create enough havoc for both of these cores. So I think just because Complexity, they don't have a timing, they don't really have that much pressure on their backs, I'm willing to say that I think I prefer the Complexity draft, but only because, I always favor teams that have the ease of execution. It kind of feels like Complexity are going to win eventually, unless J.Storm are able to push their timings and take the game.
Oh,
so I think that's the only reason I favor Complexity. But J.Storm most certainly do have a chance. I mean, that is if they ever reconnect.
Yeah, well, that's a start. Yeah, they're landing. Shocker. Yeah, it's. I was actually slow loading in there as well. I know there's that very, very small patch, so no mid-tournament patch here as far as balance patch goes. Again, the idea is that after the qualifiers at the end of the week, then we'll get 7.22, I believe it is. So looking forward to that and seeing what changes are ahead. But yeah, back to your point there, it's absolute J.Storm. Honestly, if they play the way they did against Beast Coast, I would favor them with this draft because they played fast in that series. They played very well as a team. The movement was there. I was genuinely impressed. So I do think Complexity is in for quite the challenge, especially having the fairly greedier draft. And the thing with Rubik, as much as I like the Rubik pick for the comfort and everything, in the laning phase, he is a bit weaker than a lot of these other supports. So we saw what Fear did on Lina in the previous series. Something tells me we could have another one of those performances. So I would lean towards J.Storm in this game. So.
Yeah, one thing about J.Storm that we saw from the previous game is they did favor these at least aggro tri-lanes, or if not aggro tri-lanes, they want to be pressuring the carry. If if Miracle heads towards the safe lane, they want to have their tri-lane up against the morph lane. So I'm curious if they do the same thing again, or they deviate towards standard dual lanes that we've seen in a bunch of other games.
Yeah. Looks like that one is just. It's good. It's good. It's good in moderation. But then when it gets spammed, it's a little too much.
I mean, to get a Seb that long, you have to give a lot of money to Valve. So yeah, you have to show it off.
That's fair. That's fair. So props to those that do have it. Good support right there. What is it at? 13 million now, I think I last checked. Yeah, just over 13 million. God. I knew I chose the wrong profession. All right. Medusa's got an observer ward on her. See that placed.
I mean, Medusa's a very slow hero. They're going to make it to mid lane before she gets there if they want to go for this.
Oh, they certainly are. J.Storm smoked up. Limp. He's not going to stick around, so he'll be fine. And they're just going to smoke on past, but this is a sneaky play from J.Storm. We'll see if they can catch Complexity off guard. Limp is, well, he's going to see OD, so OD's kind of thinking, oh, yeah, no, totally, no one else is here. Don't mind me. Pango, he has Swashbuckle, so it's a little harder to get him.
30 seconds to battle.
And he'll spot, in fact, J.Storm walking on by. So don't think we're going to have any kills unless somehow Tavo gets completely caught off guard here, but
yet he cut himself into these trees, but they have the first stun there.
He's just dead. Okay.
First blood on the sand.
Yeah, he mentioned he put himself in that spot, but I guess he just figured that they were never going to find him, but somehow they did.
The battle begins.
I mean, the thing was, he was the one to break all of their smoke as they came down.
True.
So they checked this area first, assuming they found someone, and then eventually they just thought, let's check the trees, and they find a Pangolier.
Nice little present there for J.Storm. So speaking of a fast start, they do exactly that, and ultimately the smoke does come through as the lanes are also shaping up now, and So, of course, they're very aware that Pango's top lane. They send Sand King up here. He's trying to use that shovel to see what he can get for the battle pass. As Sven, he puts the hammer on the 3-4-3. 3-4-3's in a lot of trouble. Lena's coming over as well. March TP'd in. And Oracle pretty much knows he's dead. He's just going to try to make them waste as much time as possible. But this is going to be a second kill for J.Storm. So, again, the fast start is certainly here.
Yeah, they're doing exactly what we said they needed to do. Get that early advantage in the lanes and push it. And 2 kills is certainly a way to do it. And we were totally correct about what J.Storm were doing. They are running a tri-lane into this Morphling.
Well, that was the idea, but Merkel's like, I'm out of here. Similar to what Beast Coast was doing with the Drow the last series, just trying to avoid as much as possible. Tavo's TPing bottom. Will we see that reaction from J.Storm? So far, not moving yet, but Resolution just cleared the creep wave, and something tells me he is going to TP. Sure enough, is Moo goes down, though. Oh, okay, I was watching him for the TP. I did not expect a Sand King to get killed.
He just got affected by the Fortune's End, and he was pretty low from trading a few hits earlier. So with the point in the adaptive strike, it was just enough to be able to get the kill from Miracle.
All right. Well, good find, at least for Complexity. So they get on the board. Miracle is now having to deal with the Sven Lina in the lane. Abaddon is making his way towards the bottom. Middle matchup, though, OD versus Medusa. Right now it's OD at 5-5, Medusa 5-4, so very even as far as the mid matchup goes so far. There is a double damage rune spawn, which I'm pretty sure Limp sees, so he can make his way to get it unless OD zones him out, which he's going to do just that. In fact, March coming over, so Limp is actually going to have to give it up. It's double damage for OD.
Yeah, and that should probably help Bryle get a bit more of an advantage in this lane. Obviously, I do think you do favor the OD a teeny bit. And as we're talking about that, in the top lane, J.Storm, they're just clearing kills all around the map.
Yeah.
Feared. The impact on this Lina he's able to have, like, it's so impressive. Like, he did it in his first game, in the first series we saw, and he's able to do it once again.
I think it's the heroes together. I caught that on camera. I mean, he just ran in with the Stormhammer, kind of like we're seeing right here. It sets up a perfect LSA. Now, Miracle's going to be fine in this case because he's already shifting, so he'll be good, but clearly the pressure is a lot. Fear is probably in trouble now as he's going to pop a salve, though, out of range of 3-4-3, out of vision even. He does pull the creep wave with him, so a little bit awkward, and he just cannot shake this creep wave. They're going to keep chasing. So, you know what? He's wasting a lot of time. So, give him that. In fact, I don't even think they're going to try to go for the kill. Or maybe they will. The courier, it's coming over. It's going to spot him. He doesn't have a TP. So, now the game of do they go for the hunt or do they just let him sit here? Okay, Fear's going to cut his way out.
I mean, it's times like this where you just spam space created in the chat.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what he's doing, you know. He didn't mind if he died, but he was just drawing as much attention from the Oracle as well as the Morphling. And, you know, it's let J.Storm set this lane in a great position for them. Wasted time in the Morphling, so he's now a tiny bit lacking in CS, and he's still well enough alive.
Well, Sven, that is plenty of damage, similar to what we apparently saw happen to the Sand King earlier. Didn't see it because bad camera work, but as you're so well explaining with the Fortunes and the adaptive strike combo, Sven gets a little low, but popped a stick. He's good to go. Has plenty of regen to work with.
In your face.
Yeah, Z-Freak thought about rotating mid, but good positioning by Bryle meant he wasn't able to set up for the kill with the help of Limp.
He's coming back bottom lane, though. Hear the swashbuckle going off. Tavo, he's unset the Sandstorm. Going to pop the shield crash to mitigate some damage, as was getting a little low. Moo, how's he building? He does have a 1-2-1 build. We'll see plenty of different Sand King builds, I feel like, from game to game as far as what they prioritize, but he's got everything, at least a little bit, as Moo's going to be fade bolted. Missed the swashbuckle, though, so he's good to go. 3 heroes at the top lane for J.Storm, meanwhile, as Lena's coming back in. There is a ward off to the side, though, so Complexity has plenty of information.
Yeah, so talking back about Moo's Sand King, you do see this 1 point in Corset finale, and this is usually... Oh, let's watch this.
Oh, no, he's going to be fine against shifting, but another close call.
So I'll just go back to what I was saying. This 1 point in Corset finale, it's just so advantageous when you're against melee laner, because you get that little harass every time you get a CS. Well, in the top lane,
yeah,
able to find the hero.
That was well played. They obviously fought at the bounty ring, the 5-minute bounty ring that spawned, and the stun was perfect from Sven. It happened at both and allowed for the turn on of Rubik there. trying to contest for said bounty rune. So they make it a 2-for-2 split between the teams as well as the hero kill for the Radiant. And I currently got the last hit and denies tab up, of course, as usual in the beginning of the game. And there's a lot of green on top. In fact, all three belonging to the Radiant side right
Radiant's
now.
bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, for the side of J.Storm, they've it's just this tri-lane in the top lane. They've really been able to shut down Miracle, and they've tried to respond to it. But you're not really forcing a Sand King out of lane. He's more than happy to sit inside the Sandstorm. Even has his own sentry wards to try and contest. And this Medusa isn't doing terribly in the mid lane, but there's just no real way you're beating an OD, especially now she has 3 points in the Astral Imprisonment.
Medusa's queuing up that wand. Curious to see what Limp prioritizes this game earlier on. Gonna see just the Manta, the eventual Scotty that you brought up, or will we see kind of a farming tool, maybe something like that Mask of Madness from Limp coming out? Could you see that potentially, or do you think just more standard Yasha, Manta style, etc.?
I mean, it's definitely clear that Limp doesn't want to take part in the early fight, so he might want to go for a farm accelerant. But I think the more standard build is to get this early treads into maybe a Dragon Lance or a Yasha. I think it'd be one or the other, and then complete the Manta style into Scuddy should be his idea. I definitely think he needs to be getting a Scuddy. While in this top lane Miracle.
God. Yeah, he's manning up again. In fact, manning up, going back on a march. Did he go too deep, though? Dragon Slave, the missed coil, the beat down from Sven. The adapter strike pushback, though, and he will once again survive. So Miracle knows how to live life on the edge. And a comfortable hero for him. He does have the infused raindrops helping there as well. Down to 2 charges. Of course, Oracle backup is also nice. Granted, Oracle doesn't have Feed's Edict yet, so isn't necessarily pumping out big heals. But that'll come soon.
Yeah, it's Miracle. As you point out, these infused raindrops are quite literally saving his life there. And I don't know if you noticed, but in the mid lane, Bryal, he just made sure to check the jungle for the Medusa, just seeing if she has any big stacks, because as an OD, you're able to farm them as well with the Astral Imprisonment. So making sure that Limp doesn't get that farm accelerant to be able to catch up.
Watching Tavo barely get away at the bottom lane. Fierce going in with the LSA, but it will miss. As Tavo throws out the bit of a taunt as well. Miracle, meanwhile, gets a kill on a march at the top lane. As Abaddon got a little too deep in there, so overall good news for Complexity. Well played by Tavo at the bottom. Kill at the top, he's going to pop a shrine.
This Miracle Morphing, you can see why they definitely pick it. He's really, really good at this hero, just min-maxing every time with the adaptive strike, both the strength and the agility form. You know, previously in that top lane engagement, if he hadn't used that strength adaptive strike, he wouldn't have lived, and neither would his support. So they know exactly what they're doing, while we can see Bryal farming the jungle for the Medusa.
Yeah, just kind of what you're talking about there. It's just OD's in the jungle, very deep ward on the shrine, so of course they know what's going on, and they're not going to risk fighting. He does have Sanity's Eclipse, and they want to catch Miracle. He is shifted agility. Here's your chance. The big burst going to put him under. It's not enough damage initially. I don't think they have this. Okay, they do. It is enough. Astral Imprisonment, level 4, so very close call there.
Yeah, it's just the level 4 Astral. It was a really good play by the side of J.Storm. They committed everything at just the right time.
March, he's only level 3, no borrowed time coming out, but Photic Shield applied, and he's got backup nearby, enough to scare off the Dire team from pushing in. Good movement from J.Storm there. Of course, Medusa just sitting middle lane during all of that and continuing to progress in her farm, and does have the Yasha now queued up, so it's a bit of an answer as far as what Limp's planning. Top lane, Bryal's still up here. Makes you wonder how long he's going to stick around, but thinking about heading back mid soon, I'm sure. Although Lena's currently absorbing that experience mid lane, so maybe that's a good thing.
Something I do think we need to talk about is Moo is just having an absolutely wonderful time on the Sand King. He's going to have that Veil very, very quickly, and that's going to accelerate him into the quick Veil blink timing.
Villa Discord, plenty of amp damage for this team. It's OD top lane, Astral Imprisonment. He's surrounded by 4 heroes, though. I don't think he's getting out of this one. No escape tool. And just a matter of time as far as who gets the last hit. Yeah, Swashbuckle eventually comes through. Waveform was also used, but it does get J.Storm 3. No, they're going to get all 4. Sand King's going to get the other bottom one. So they do lose OD, but they get all 4 bounty runes somewhat because of that. And as you mentioned, that Villa Discord just about finished for Sand King now.
Yeah, so 10-minute bounty runes. How much did they get for the kill on the OD? Let me check. 247. I actually think all 4 bounty runes are worth losing your mid laner. Normally, you would never say that, but all 4 bounty runes, they're pretty damn valuable.
Oh yeah, if that truly was the trade, and I think in that case, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely think that's worth it. March, by the way, he just stole the Centaur neutral in the jungle away from Morphling. He happened to have an invis rune, and he just snipes it down as it's just low enough. So little plays there, but good job by March.
Yeah, Limp isn't doing too badly though. Seems to have a stack of ancients that she's clearing through, and so you know, just behind the Sven, that's really pretty impressive when you were laning against an OD.
Resolution, he popped God Strength. They want somebody out of this. They're going to find 3-4-3. Stormhammer follow-up, so an easy kill for that. And going to use the God Strength to go for the tower, most likely Tavo. Oh, this is risky. He does have the roll activated, of course. Going to roll on through, trying to distract. He'll TP out, though, with that rolling thunder and be fine. But that's an easy tier 1 tower kill for J.Storm. As we take a look at the net worth now, and again, there's a lot of green up on that chart. You got top 3, 3 of the top 4 belonging to the 3 cores of J.Storm right now. Limp the only one that's doing pretty good for complexity.
Yeah, J.Storm, they definitely did come out ahead of that laning phase, but I don't think it's too catastrophic for the side of complexity. Resolution, he's getting very low from those tower hits.
Yeah, he just mismanaged right there as far as the damage incoming. Now 3-4-3, Fatesita keeping himself alive. In fact, a turn potential. They fight on the shrine, and we say it so much, but it usually is a bad idea. And in another case here, J.Storm losing 2 heroes in the end. Sand King is able to get away, but yeah, Sven a bit of a misplay, and then other heroes kind of stuck around attempting to help initially, just get caught in between.
Radiant's bottom tower is
I mean, Sven here, he just overestimated how tanky he was, had none of his team behind him, and with the Medusa in the Oracle, you always don't think about how much burst she does, but you get to double that Purifying Flames damage, so it's, you know, it's a 540 damage nuke, and that's nothing to be sniffed at, as well as the fact that she gets rid of your Warcry, and they were able to kill Resolution.
Yeah, those Purifying Flames, it is plenty of burst damage for sure from Oracle. That's what I love about this hero. This hero like to do so much, and I've always been impressed by the skill set of this hero, and for a long time we didn't see a lot of Oracle other than the whole cheese factor, you know, the Oracle Husker or whatever, but I'm glad to see more recently, due to some matchups with the purging and everything, seems like we are seeing plenty more, and a high skill cap support in my opinion too, so it's always good to see well-played Oracle players in 3-4-3. Certainly feel like is one of those. Comfortable for him at least.
Yeah, I think the highest skill cap thing I've ever seen on an Oracle is versus a Silencer, where you start channeling the Fortune's End on yourself before the Global Silence, so you end up purifying it when he silences you. It's just so heads up. And
somebody did that at
so cool
the MDL, didn't they? There was that huge highlight. I forget who. One of the Chinese players. I forget who exactly it was, but anywho, exactly what you're talking about right there. Morphling, he gets away though before J.Storm rotates on him at the bottom. You see what Morphling's planning, the triple Wraithband, but Lincoln Sphere is what he has in mind. Lincoln's makes sense to this game.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at J.Storm, they just have so much nice single target disable. They have the Storm Hammer from the Sven, as well as the Bio Strike. So it's just such a good item. It's going to get rid of those 2 instant disables, as well as it means you won't be put under by the OD. But if they do have good coordination, the OD might be able to break the Lincolns. But it's still such a value item. And especially if they're focusing all their stuns on Miracle, they have this other carry of Limp who's got himself to the #1 net worth chart and is now, honestly, more than halfway towards his Eye of Skadi.
Haven't really seen much of this Village Discord yet. Oh, they tried to smoke on the dire side. Little did they know they were right into the Radiant team. However, this initiation from J.Storm isn't as strong as they hoped for. Immediate TP as well as a Stone Gaze from Medusa means they have to back off. They're going to lose Sand King. Z-Freak ends up living. So what seemed like potential disaster for complexity, they were just very quick to react. So props to them, especially with Limp pressing R as soon as possible to deter the further initiation there. March, bottom lane. Well, he goes down. He got the bounty room, but obviously comes at a cost. And yeah, that's a level 4 Abaddon, by the way. Yikes, he's under leveled.
Yeah, most obviously the Tome here has gone to Fear to get his level 6. But the side of J.Storm, we said that they're pacing lineup. And pacing lineups, it's really good to be using your ultimates off cooldown. And, you know, we've still yet to see a big epicenter. We've yet to see a Laguna Blade. And so for me, I feel like Complexity, they're drawing the game out long enough. And I mean, that's why we saw J.Storm dive this tier 1 tower. They were looking to use those ultimates, but Complexity, nice rotations in. And it means J.Storm, they're not able to get what they want.
This is really interesting. So Resolution, this is just a comfort item for him, I gotta say, because again, this is another game. There's not like an Ursa or that upfront, you know, melee in-your-face hero where Heaven's Halberd is just so good against. The disarm especially. This is now back-to-back games that we've seen him from earlier today too. That he likes this item. In this game, it does make sense too. You know, another Lincoln's Disabler is kind of nice. Just the evasion that it brings in. He does have another core from that in the OD that is also going to be dangerous in as far as scaling throughout this game. So. Interesting to see, though.
Yeah, you're totally right. The Resolution, I think he just likes this item, and especially as we've seen him build it every game against range carries. That 5-second disable when they rely on right-clicking for their damage is just so powerful. It means Medusa, let's say her Stone Gaze is finished, she's affected by this storm, is doing literally nothing for 5 seconds, and hopefully you bring her down during that.
Just about has it, Lena. Aether Lens finished on her. Of course, broke up the boots to do so, but as Laguna Blade ready, was also scouting around with the Invis, but didn't find an opportunity. Morphling to Slippery. He's already got his Perseverance finished as Maelstrom picked up by Tavo. So, yeah, Tango's been a little quiet this game. But he's got a Maelstrom. His farming tool with the Arcane Boots. He's going to go more of that utility. The Guardian Greaves queued up. Wants the Maelstrom for the nice synergy with the Swashbuckle and, in general, like I said, a farming tool for him.
Yeah, so I'm having a look at Brial here on his OD because it does feel like after the laning phase and that one kill on the Morphing Top, it's been a while since he's got involved. And he's gone for a Blink Dagger now into the Kayasha. So it makes me wonder what timing are J.Storm looking for, because they have a whole bunch of items, they have the Blink Dagger coming from Mu, and I think that's got to be their time.
Well, TP to the bottom lane. You can tell J.Storm wants to make a play down here, whether it's just simply a tower pusher. Well, obviously, they would like a pick, but especially now with the Blink Dagger on Sand King officially picked up. I don't think they're going to get one, though. Complexity, some kind of information is letting them know this is not worth defending for now, at least. Merkel, he's falling back. You see 3 heroes over here for Complexity. They are heading towards the mid lane, but Radiant going to scan nearby, not hit anyone. And this seems like a bit of a wasted time for J.Storm somewhat. I mean, Medusa's not getting the craziest farm out of this. She's just pushing middle lane, but Yasha and now wow, she really is going to have an Iascati finished. And 50 gold or so. Jeez. Mass TP's middle.
So this is what they're looking for to defend. They have the epicenter.
There we go. The Veil's put on with a false promise immediately. So an ulti for an ulti. Definitely a better trade for the Dire team, I would think. Limp, he pops Stone Gaze, seeing that they want to keep going in. Resolution to go too deep. Stormhammer going to be used on a battle right there as Rubik stole it. The Stone Gaze eventually wearing off in the back lines. You have Brial doing his thing. Stone Gaze worn off. 3-4-3. Almost getting nuked down. The nuke's on Brial, excuse me, is not enough as Oracle will fall. Tavo, though, the swashbuckle onto him. Puts himself under, does Brial on the OD, the lockdown on Medusa as well. The Sanity's Eclipse comes out. Seafreak just barely alive, goes down, but a double kill. I guess for Brial there. Miracle able to finish the job, however, on Morphling. A lot of trading happening. Really a 3-for-3 between the teams. And you kind of look at the aftermath and what we're dealing with. I don't know. It's, I guess, I mean, the gold change says that the Dire team won that fight, but I can see positives for both.
Yeah, I agree with you that there are positive for both sides. But J.Storm, I think they would have liked to win that fight a bit more convincingly. Obviously, the whole Sand King Burrow Epicenter just nullified by that Oracle there, allowing them to walk away. She got the Stone Gaze off before they were able to initiate on her properly for that second time. And I don't know if you noticed, but Sven, he did get that Heaven's Halberd on the Medusa during the end of that fight, and that meant for, as we said, for 5 seconds, she was doing nothing. And Brial came in from the back, but it looks like we're having another initiation here in this top lane.
Well, thought about it. Fighting over that rune. Instead, it's just going to be picked up. And that's the end of it. Double damage picked up by Limp, though, is down here. Pango put under. However, noticing Medusa's nearby, not worth committing further. And thus, gonna fall back, but he got the hero kill lead. It's 10-9 favoring Complexity, obviously small one. The net worth very even right now as far as the overall goes. But yeah, this Medusa, I think it's fair to say they really need that Sanity's Eclipse on Medusa ideally to have a good chance, especially with the way that he's farming right now.
Yeah, Brial was involved in the fight, but he was fighting different heroes than the Medusa. For the side of J.Storm, they got the matchups that they weren't really looking for. You want the OD versus the Medusa and the Sven versus the Morphling, but they had it the other way around, and I think that's why the fight kind of went okay for Complexity.
BKB being worked on by Sven as Morphling. He finds Lina. Lina is no more. Quick burst there. Of course, Lincoln's finished on Morphling, and they're going to try to chase 4 more March. For all time, he gets healed up a little bit, as he's also hit by the Rolling Thunder, though. Bouncing off the wall back in from Tavo. Double kill for Miracle. So Complexity, they find a couple of picks, and likely going to transition into the Tier 2 bottom, as Moo, he does have Epi, Blink combo. It's a level 2 Epicenter. Yeah, oh, they know he's over here. Yeah, they start pinging it, but he blinks away before they catch him. So living life on the edge, he's fine. But yeah, Complexity has definitely found a bit of a groove now with their movement.
Yeah, now for the first time, they're number 1 in net worth. J.Storm, they really want to be finding like nice, clean pickoffs for the side of Complexity. I mean, that's why you have all these blink daggers. That's why you have all this initiation. But the other way around, Complexity, you know, they're just staying quite near each other, not massively grouped up as 5, but just close enough that if anyone's initiated on, especially putting Limp on the front lines, he's gonna live long enough that the side of Complexity, they're able to group up and turn the fight around. And that means that J.Storm, even though you have all this great fight, all this great pickoff, you're not able to use it because in a 5v5 fight, Medusa's gonna go off her Stone Gaze and kite everyone in the team.
And understandably, she's just chilling up here. You got Pango sitting back, ready to use Rolling Thunder if initiation does happen. So yeah, the Star team really does have a lot of reaction, from Stone Gaze to Rolling Thunder to the False Promise. They have a lot of ways to kind of counter when you happen to jump in this case, J.Storm. So it's finding a way around that. Getting the 1 or 2 quick pickoffs, it seems like, is what they're going to have to be more about, as Brial, he continues to push up top lane, but he's in trouble now as Pango's coming in. Brial realizes that at the last second, and he TPs out back to safety, where he'll be fine for the time being. But yeah, Complexity trying to take advantage and get a pick, unable to do so, but they ping the top tower. Let's go to the next objective, they say.
No, yeah, it's exactly as you say. They're just going from tower to tower, and they realize that J.Storm, that they are lacking a bit of damage. When you put, especially, you know, you just put Limp up front, you put Miracle's Lincoln on him, you have the Oracle of 3-4-3 behind him, and you're quite literally not able to kill Limp. And when you're not able to kill someone, you just take objectives. And so for the side of J.Storm, I think they need to be doing this smoke. They have to get through to the backlines of Complexity to start a fight and eventually win one. And so that's what they're trying to do here.
Well, that's exactly what they're trying to do. Miracle, he might be in a bad spot, but no, he goes downhill now. So Complexity doesn't really know exactly where J.Storm is. They're going to find out soon enough, though, it feels like. Resolution. Again, he doesn't have Blink yet, though, so he can't just charge in comfortably. That's what's making it awkward. He is going to be exposed. He gets pinged out. And what seemed like for sure a fight breaking out there ends up being not much, as both teams play it very cautious. I think that Blink on Sven is going to be key, though, because, yeah, especially with this, we've talked about several times now, Medusa, the Stone Gaze, the Eye of Scotty being finished. Yes. He needs a way to just get in there, not have to run in there.
Yeah, and he did go for the BKB before the Blink Dagger, but at this point, the BKB, you know, it kind of feels inconsequential because he's still going to be slowed by the Eye of Scotty, as well as you can still turn to stone. So if he's the one who wants to get on top of Limp, the BKB is going to be kind of ineffective in a way. So I'm not sure if I totally dislike it, because obviously they do have a lot of magic damage and they do have a lot of disable from the side of Complexity. But I think that Blink might have paid off a bit earlier.
Complexity checking out Roshan. Seeing what was up. Again, this isn't a team, to me at least, that screams we can do Roshan quickly. But it is a team that's, I think the reason that they're doing this is because, again, they can counter. They have ways to counter-initiate, so that's why they're so comfortable doing this. And right now it's working out. It's, again, not the fastest. J.Storm is heading over, though.
Yeah, they had a successful scan, and let's see if they are able to defend this.
Snake thrown out. J.Storm in the area. Saying hello at least. Going to stall them from finishing Roshan. Limp, he's getting further and further away from his team. Yeah, they're going to do some damage. They're not going to overcommit it, though. It's a good call.
You spend 3 of your good stuns over on Limp, and he's still full health. Yeah. That's why it feels pretty bad playing against Medusa.
That's intimidation right there. Yeah, especially in Medusa, that's this farm. This Limp's just showing off there. Popping the Mantis down, destroying the Stormhammer. Picks up the Haster and goes back into the Roshan pit. Again, everything is still ready as far as the reactions are concerned. And yeah, I think J.Storm just gives this up, honestly. And it looks like they're spring back.
They do still have the big Barrow epicenter, but I think it might be too late before they decide to go for it.
It's just too scary. Like it's the Stone Gaze, False Promise, Rolling Thunder. There's just so many of these reaction abilities that they have. It makes it too difficult.
Yeah, at this point in the game, even though we're basically even the net worth, J.Storm, they really did not have the answers to Limp. Like, this OD is, in a way, meant to be kind of an answer to the Medusa, but it just isn't, just because of how farm Limp is at this point. And especially with an Aegis on top of him, if you pop Limp once, I don't think you're going to be able to go through his health and his mana pool the second time.
And that's the thing for me, is that, I mean, they picked Medusa into this OD, and I've seen many of teams do that too. It's like, it's one of those on paper, it sounds like, yes, OD should be really good against Medusa and everything, but it's not in execution because there's so many other factors of the game. It's not like he just gets to sit there right-clicking Medusa always and then get that godlike Sanity's Eclipse. But, well, here we go. Villa Discord applied. Limp goes on the Snake. Says, thank you very much. I'll take that mana. And get a little bit of damage out. Now, you see what Sven's doing. Resolution putting pressure top lane. He is going to get a reaction out of this. And that will ultimately save J.Storm's base because Complexity has to send resources back to defend now.
I mean, Z-Freak isn't showing himself here. I think he's hoping that Resolution overcommits for this, but they're taking a lot of tower to this tier 3.
Yeah, he's trying. It's the game of chicken. Who can be more patient? Yeah, right now it's Sven winning that, so he ends up TPing away, realizing Rubik's there. That's a win for J.Storm, considering what they were up against. An Aegis push of Medusa, they trade tower damage. I mean, it's near identical tower damage between the mid tier 3 on their side and the top tier 3 that Resolution was beating into.
Yeah, it's really good work by Resolution. It's J.Storm. It's realizing, you know, we can't win fights, but what are we able to achieve on the map? And what Resolution says is, you know what I can do? I can split push. I can force them back. I can stop them taking our base. And it's really anything you can do to stop them taking your base at this point in time.
Pango with the Guardian Greaves. Talk about some good item progress there for Complexity. Rubik, he does have a blink. We've mentioned time and time with the pick here in this game that there's just so much to steal, so getting an Hags on Rubik would feel nice. Of course, that is still a ways away, but if you can manage to get there, wouldn't mind that, as they smoke up mid lane, and they're just going to let Medusa once again do her thing. Resolution is up at top. Lina is TPing back in, I believe. Yeah, but Resolution's still going to split push, so we'll see what Complexity does with this. There is a TP going back.
His God Strike.
Medusa gets caught initially. Who TP'd back? That was
the
Morphling. Okay, he's using Sven against him. So they're having their fun over there. Limp, meanwhile, he's getting healed up. Pops his Mantis style. Borrowed time going to be activated by Abaddon, so he needs to be more careful now. Resolution, he just jumps in, by the way. Now Morphling's not here, remember. Pango, he gets done off to the side. Rolling Thunder's already being used. Stone Gaze. The spread of J.Storm, though, is very good right now. Resolution, he's being slow, though. The Ice Scotty. BKB not helping too much there. Gets the proc, though, with the Echo Saber on the 3-4-3. The False Promise comes out on himself, though. He's probably still going to die through this. Just a matter of delaying it as much as possible. Astral Imprisonment puts Medusa under. Did OD go too far? It looks like it. He cannot save himself with the Astral Imprisonment, but he can be saved by Abaddon. He's able to blink away. Wow. Oracle is the only death after all of that. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that whole engagement went on for a while. Obviously, they were doing the usual, you know, poke at the Medusa stun, as we saw previously, but Bryle leaps into the back line. As we said, that's what J.Storm needs to every fight, get into the back line. So he tries to go onto that Oracle. but that forces out the Stone Gaze, and they cannot beat Limp. This Sven, the vast majority of his BKB timing, it was him trying to walk over slowly while slowed by the Skadi during his BKB. But you're right, eventually they do get the Oracle, and that's enough to stop this push. But the Aegis still remains, and eventually they will have Miracle for that next push. And it looks like this time they're going to take care of this top lane.
Yeah, Resolution's heading bottom, but there's a tier 2 tower there. Now, the Aegis, it only has about 35 seconds or so remaining on it, so I think Complexity is settling for more of the Shrine kills instead. And they already got the mid-tier 3, and that's what's exposed this now. So, double damage, currently bottled up even on Medusa.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Even without the Aegis, I could definitely see them pushing, I suppose. But yeah, look at the Resolution with Bryle. They're trading a Shrine, so
bottom shrine
considering the circumstances, it does seem like J.Storm continues to make the best out of this. And hey, if you're behind in the game and you're trading, you really are winning then, as far as those specific trades. So that's a good thing to be doing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but it's exactly as you say. They know they don't need the Aegis to push. They haven't managed to kill Limp once. They're not going to kill him now. They even forced the ulti out on March just with a little bit of double damage harass.
Okay, Oracle's dead. That was a big burst. Fear burst him down the Aether Lens reach of the Laguna Blade. So now Complexity decision time. In fact, they need to help out Limp. Can he get the gaze off? It doesn't look like it. Limp's in trouble. The Settings Eclipse burns all that mana. He can't get the gaze off. He goes down. The wand is not enough. The initiation very strong from J.Storm. They did lose Lina as well as Sand King, though. And speaking of morphling into the Lina, however, he morphs back into himself. A close call. Merkel's on the run at bat, and he buys back as he gets picked up by Seafric in the backlines, but Merkel gets caught once again by another stun of the Storm Hammer from Sven, and he eventually falls. He's out for a minute. And now it's J.Storm's turn to chase. Z-Freak, he's going to be caught up too. Stormhammer connects on him. He has Pearl Strike stolen. Going to use it up here under the cliff. However, they got the vision. Well, now he knows it's warded. That's the good news. The bad news is he's dead.
Wow, J.Storm just, I said Limp wasn't unkillable, and I'm going to have to apologize to Limp because obviously I did Caster's Curse him right there. J.Storm just, as you said, the Laguna Blade on the Oracle, we did not expect the Oracle to go down in a second, and J.Storm, they knew that was their moment to take the fight right on top of the Medusa there. They got rid of her mana before she was able to use the Stone Gaze. You can see it's still on cooldown, and they also caught the Morphling while he was morphing into Agi. They had the stun on him while he was morphing into Agi, so he was just such low health that a great fight from J.Storm. They played that wonderfully.
Yeah, I'm looking at the death recap on Medusa right now at 31:48 in the 1 second window. It's a crazy how much damage she took from literally every hero on the Radiant side. Everyone did some source of damage into Medusa, upwards of 1,000 plus in that 1 second. So clearly they have the burst. It goes back to, though, yeah, if they don't pick up Oracle, of course none of that happens because False Promise comes out, Fate's Edict, whatever, and things reset. So if they get that pick, though, then there's the opening. And we're going to be looking for that again if you're J.Storm, I'm sure. Matter of catching 3 for 3.
Yeah, and with that, I'm curious if the side of complexity, because sometimes you see teams after an unsuccessful high ground push, they're just very shook and they just farm jungle until the next Aegis. But some teams, they think, it was just a bad engagement. They got a good initiation. We can reposition ourselves better. So they will look to give that push again. Because complexity, I do think, if the Oracle doesn't get picked off, that fight does go in their way. So they might want to look to honestly just continue that push, or they'll want to wait for Aegis. I'm very curious about what their mentality is.
I think that they could feel comfortable doing it again, because again, it goes back to 3 for 3 just needs better positioning. He was too far up. The fact that Lina was able to snipe him with the Laguna Blade from the uphill, that's just out of position, as simple as that. And meanwhile, Limp, Resolution jumped into this. Stone Gaze goes out. Bryle, though, he cuts off somebody over here. That's Oracle gets picked off. So just like before, can they follow this up, though? Sven's in trouble. He's getting low off this BKB as the Stone Gaze proc hits, but there's a Sanity that Eclipse, and Medusa's just melting like it's hot, like the previous fight. Resolution gets credit for the kill. Astral Imprisonment puts himself under this. Bryle, he's able to blink away as well. Miracle trying to use OD for himself. He goes in with a wave for him, but now he's in a tough spot. He's in the Astral Imprisonment, but Tavo's picked off, and now it's going to be a kill on Morphling. It's just falling to pieces for Complexity. They lose all 5. Resolution just charges in with this new Orchid, by the way, and it works out plenty.
I mean, J.Storm, just another fantastic fight for them. They go for this smoke into the high ground, which is so damn risky. The Medusa even realizes he's there, gets the Stone Gaze off, but this new item on OD, having this Hex correctly locating 343 in the back lines, and obviously the fight's going to be theirs from there. And I do have to question, why didn't the Oracle buy back? That fight went on for a while. I think their shrine was still there at that point, and he could have TP'd back in and, you know, not to criticize, but, you know, a few buybacks might have turned that fight around.
Did he have buyback? I'm not 100% sure, because he doesn't now with gold.
He did have buyback at least at the end of that fight.
Okay. Well, it's one of those. Maybe figured it was a lost cause at that point, but yeah, it's might not matter in the end here as J.Storm trying to take full advantage. Now, again, this would only be the first set of racks, so I don't have to get too ahead of things, but it's looking pretty good for them right now. Or are they too committed? Limp, he's getting close, popping the multi-shots off. Moo getting comboed by Oracle. Rolling Thunder in, connects. He has to Burrow Strike forward, not the most ideal place. He went into a tree, though. Almost was out of vision, but looks like he's not. He gets stopped. They also pick off March, so they get a couple of casualties of war. They did destroy the melee racks, did J.Storm. So they will take those sacrifices, I'm sure. As Roshan has 10 seconds to respond, so this could be key timing. Complexity, they don't have a Sand King or an Abaddon to deal with for around the next minute. Pending buybacks, of course, as we see Sand King does have one. But yeah, Complexity is going to go right into Roshan, and they see it's up.
Yeah, so this is very good timing for the side of Complexity. They're so lucky that they have this Roach Spawn after taking that defense of the high ground. And it is worth noting that for the side of Complexity, they do have Medusa. Medusa, obviously one of the better heroes to be defending high ground. It is that high ground time. While J.Storm, they feed away their courier, actually. And that instant buyback as well as the Stone Gates. And now I think they have to leave.
Resolution, that's an early BKB. Will it work out? The combo, the False Promise comes out, but the City Eclipse still destroys Morphling. False Promise on Medusa, but they're just kiting her. She was also disarmed in the beginning. Buyback from Morphling. Limp, he's going to drop some life. Yeah, he goes about half life initially. Burrow Strike. It connects as well, but everyone buys back on the side of Complexity. They know how important this is. Resolution with the Godstrike trying to finish off Roshan. Godstrike still on for another 5 seconds or so. They get the kill. Brawl picks up the Aegis. Cheese is picked up by Sven. Tava rolling Thunder through, but Medusa gets picked off. Laguna Blade finishing the job there. Disarm on Morphling from the Heaven's Halberd, and speaking of being disarmed, as Sven Fate's Edict on him wears off, though. He ate the cheese, it looks like, as well. The Bloodthorn going to be used once again. Morphling being chased down. They kill Oracle. Morphling in trouble. The lockdown's too much. It feels like Miracle's somehow getting away at the last second with a waveform, but there's 5 heroes collapsing. Double kill for Bryle. Another buyback, this one on Medusa, but it might be too little too late for Complexity now. And, in fact, Medusa's caught in the base. This would be a dieback, and this could be the beginning of the end.
I mean, there's no buyback on both their cores. Luckily, they did not have detection for this Glimmer Cave. But they're just going to go back in.
Oh, he's got another BKB. Yeah, why not? What are the supports going to do? Yeah, GG, well played. It's called J.Storm. Wow, I mean, it really seemed like Complexity was putting themselves in a great spot with the Aegis pushing, but you know what? You think back to the Aegis push, that Resolution split push in the top lane as Sven. That clearly was kind of a turning point, because that's how they were able to stop that, what seemed like it was going to be an unstoppable push of sorts.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Resolution, he was able to make the space and stop Complexity when they were hitting this timing where J.Storm definitely wouldn't have been able to win the fights, and then J.Storm correctly identifying what fights they're able to take, how to win the fights. And this Hex on Bryle, every single time on the back lines in the 2 fights where he had it, he found 3-4-3 in every engagement. And that final fight around the Roche Pit, Limp just a little bit too trigger happy with the Stone Gaze, meaning they don't have it for the fights. They correctly find the right people again. And finally, they do have the buybacks, but they're buying back when they don't have the Shrine to TP2. So you're not able to get right back into this engagement and make your impact felt. So massive props to the side of J.Storm. I mean, we didn't fully count them out, but it felt like they were going to have a very tough time. And then they take these 3 excellent fights in a row, again and again, finding the Oracle in the back lines, and then killing the rest of the side of Complexity.
Impressive victory, and again, looked impressive in their first series against Beast Coast. Continue that here as they take Game 1 over Complexity. So Game 2 around the corner. Going to head to that short break. We'll see what happens, and this is ultimately to move on to what would be the grand finals of the North American qualifiers. Only one team qualifying, but you will love to get to the grand finals, get to sit back for the first series tomorrow, and wait to see who you play eventually. But Complexity just trying to stay alive in this series right now and force a Game 3. We'll see if they're able to do so. It's the StarLadder ImbaTV Dota 2 Minor North American Qualifiers. I'm BreakyCPK. Joined by Hasbaz. We also want to make a point about DX Racer. DX Racer, thanks for supporting the event. Good job with that. Make some sweet chairs, of course. So check them out. All right, we got game number 2 after a short break. Coming up, guys. We'll be right back.